Welcome to episode 1 of Fiscal Responsibility in Harrison County and our Board of Supervisors. Thursday, April 16th, which was just a few days ago, Harrison County had their Board of Supervisors meeting, and they voted to increase the engineer's pay from $150,000 to $200,000 and to give him a total of $64,000 worth of benefits. So this engineer is getting $264,000. This engineer has been with Harrison County since August of 2025, so hasn't even been with the county for a full year. Comes from Pottawatomie County, where Pottawatomie County has a much larger income base, a much larger tax base. They make 6 times more than we do here in Harrison County, and what he was making there was at his last contract increase, which would have been in 2025, would have been $157,000. So to come to Harrison County, where there's 6 times less income tax base, is ridiculous. Their justification of this, so here you'll see on the screen is the Board of Supervisors tentative agenda. So what I have highlighted here is a discussion action on engineering sharing agreement with Monona County. So Monona County, I don't know how this conversation started because nobody's being straight about the situation. I don't know if Monona County came to the engineer or if the engineer went to Monona County or if there's friends, because the current engineer has done a sharing agreement with Pottawatomie County and Harrison County in the past. Other counties do it. Apparently, it's very difficult to find and retain engineers, so they get into these sharing agreements. But they're typically very, very limited. And I'll show you what those usually look like. So they bring this up to vote on it. The Board of Supervisors are Rebecca Wilkerson. She voted no. Tony Smith, he voted yes, and Brian Reif voted yes. Rebecca did push back and ask a lot of questions, tried to get the price lowered, and Brian and Tony just kept asking the engineer, oh, well, would you do it for this? No. Okay. Would you do it for this? No. Okay. Let's vote yes and just give you this money. So Monona County and Harrison County are now splitting the cost of the $264,000. So each county is going to pay $100,000 and then the $32,000 each for his benefits. And Brian Reif and Tony Smith seem to think that this is saving us money because instead of paying $150,000 on his salary, we're paying only $100,000. And what they're not considering is we now have less access to our engineer. He's not going to be working the entire time on our county. He's going to be splitting his time. So we're actually paying more money for less time and less services. We provide a vehicle that he will continue to use. So this is not I do not believe that this is a responsible use of our dollars, particularly when our taxes are continuing to go through the roof. So I'm going to show you some information here. So this is from, you'll see on the bottom here, August 13, 2025. This is when Harrison County hired county engineer position to John Rasmussen. We gave him a 3-year contract, a county vehicle, 1 week of immediate vacation, 3 weeks of additional vacation to accrue per year, and a salary of $150,000 to be reviewed annually with a start date of August 11th. By Smith, this is Tony Smith, and then seconded by Rebecca Wilkerson. Okay. So Harrison County, this is a story. There's a lot of stories out there. You can Google this situation and you can find everything that I found. So Harrison County hires an engineer after Pottawatomie County dismissal. So John Rasmussen was terminated from Pottawatomie County. He's been with them since 2004. And I am not suggesting that he didn't do a good job or that he was terminated for something nefarious that he did. I don't trust these boards of supervisors. I don't trust anybody in a position of political power because I don't think that they're looking out for us. I don't know these board of supervisors in Pottawatomie County, but they terminated his contract. What I want you to see here is the county's prior engineer, Dave Sims. He submitted his resignation in mid-July after just a month and a half on the job. So we have a long-term um, engineer that left and was replaced by Dave Sims, who lasted a month and a half in the job. I have no idea why he left either. But prior to him, it was Steve Struble. He retired in late February. And then this is Rebecca Wilkerson thinks hiring Rasmussen will be good for the county, a place he's already been several times. So when you ask yourself, what does that mean that he's been here several times? So he engaged in a Pottawatomie County actually engaged in a sharing contract between Harrison County and Pottawatomie County. Um, they, when the former Steven Struble retired in February, the Harrison County just couldn't find a replacement quick enough. So they went to Pottawatomie County and said, hey, can we share your engineer because we just can't find one. And Pottawatomie County said, okay, we will allow you to do this for 90 days. And in that 90 days, you're going to pay him $150. You're going to reimburse. So per the agreement, Rasmussen would be paid $150 per hour for Harrison County, whose board would then reimburse Pottawatomie County monthly. So it was initially proposed for 6 months. Pottawatomie County said, no, we'll let you do this for 90 days because in that time period, you should be posting and taking this seriously and you should be getting your own engineer. So this is not something that is meant to be long term. One of the board of supervisors from Pottawatomie County even said, I'd only really like to do this for 30 days and then renew it every 30 days because if they're not making reasonable progress and posting the position, we're going to probably pack up our stuff and move on. That's where I would be. So the sharing agreement was never a situation that anyone was particularly happy about. They just understood the plight that Harrison County was going through and said, okay, we've got an engineer, we'll allow you to use him. And they only let him work for Harrison County for 8 hours a week. So here's the story about Pottawatomie County Board terminates county engineer contract by 3-2. So when his contract came up, it was meant to run through June 30th. 3 of the 5 board members voted to terminate the contract. Now, they would not provide specific reasons. You can see here, Wichman feels the county needs to go in a different direction. I don't know what that means. I don't think that's very satisfactory. I wouldn't be happy with that either. If I'm a citizen of Pottawatomie County, I would like to know what happened. But what he said is, I don't want to get into a performance evaluation at this time. I just believe that the county needs to move in another direction, in a different direction. And then I do want to say that there were 2 supervisors, Susan Miller and Brianna Shea, that indicated direct support for John Rasmussen. They said he did a good job, that county engineers are hard to find, and that they believe that Rasmussen has performed his duties well. So I just want to make sure that I'm fair there and saying that there are people who very much liked his work, supported what he did. My issue has to do with the timing of everything, the fact that he already had a relationship with Pottawatomie County and a relationship with Harrison County, and that we're bringing him on and within less than a year offering him $200,000. So another thing I want to point out here is there is an engineer in Mills County, Firo, I'm sorry. So he was approached by Pottawatomie County. He was currently making, at the time that Pottawatomie reached out to him, $140,000 a year, which is very high. Mills County and Harrison County are more comparable. They're essentially matched in our population and how much our tax base is. So that would be more an apples to apples to comparison versus Pottawatomie County. So Farrow was making $140,000 in Mills County. This story also shows that had John Rasmussen's contract not been terminated, he would be making $157,456. That is what had been approved in Pottawatomie County. The reason I'm talking about that is We've talked about Pottawatomie County has 6 times the population and income base. Yet we hired and we're only dropping that by $7,000. So we were paying him $150,000 already, which is high. If you do a comparison in counties that are comparable to Harrison County, $150,000 is high. And you can see here $140,000 was still high. $140 for Pharaoh is still high. But that's what they were willing to pay him. And that's fine. But we need to understand what's really going on here. So this is just another story about Mills County. So what happened was Pottawatomie County offered Jacob Farrow $165,000. Mills County did not want to lose him, and so they agreed to match his salary so that he did not go off to Pottawatomie County. So he stayed in Mills County. So he's getting paid $165 as a full-time employee of Mills County. So this is just a story to show that Pottawatomie County, this was at the time, had not yet replaced Rasmussen. However, they did enter a 30-day interim agreement with Mills County to sharing Jacob Farrow. So even though he didn't take the position and leave and go to Pottawatomie full-time, he did do a 30-day agreement. So I want you to see that that is something that they do, but it's for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. So this is John Rasmussen. He's our engineer. He's in Logan. And really what I want is for there to be accountability at Harrison County at every level, in Missouri Valley, in the cities, in the towns, in the courthouse. This is something that should have been discussed. We paid him $150,000, gave him vacation time, gave him a vehicle, and we have a couple supervisors who believe that they're saving money because they're not actually looking at the math. So Pottawatomie County pays $1.70 per resident for a full-time engineer. Harrison County now pays $9 per resident for half an engineer. That is not fiscally responsible. That money has to come from somewhere. I have asked them multiple times to provide a phone number where we can call in because the majority of us work, but we could possibly call in and listen to the meeting while we're working. I've asked for them to hold the meetings at a larger place because oftentimes when somebody actually cares and wants to show up, there's not enough room. I've asked questions about many different things. Something that I'm working on right now is Vanguard. My understanding is we're paying over $1 million to Vanguard for them to come in and do assessments. Vanguard's corporate offices are in Omaha. Okay, so they're coming here and doing these assessments. And I don't believe that they're doing it on Missouri Valley values, because if you look at houses that are out there that have been listed for a year, yeah, they tried to get 200,000, but now they're down to 160, and the courthouse still has them valued at 190 or 200 or 220. I do not believe that is reflecting Missouri Valley values. I believe that that is reflecting Omaha values. So I bring that up. That will be a separate issue, but I bring that up because when I asked the courthouse about this, they said, no, Vanguard does not do our assessments. Yes, they do. They have done them. I've talked to many people here, and in fact, I had a building on Main Street revalued, and who showed up? A man from Vanguard in a Vanguard car and did the assessment. And then I have Emily Allman telling me that Vanguard does not do our assessments. And then when I asked her for the breakdown to show me the total that we pay, I said, what is our relationship with Vanguard then? Oh, we use it for software. Okay, how much do we pay them? Oh, I can't tell you total how much we pay them because I only have the total line item for all of these things. So I can't tell you how much we pay this individual vendor. My understanding is we've paid them over $1 million annually. So it's an open records request. Every single open records request I put in this county gets pushback. I'm waiting for things from July I've had to involve the state in. Pushback from everyone. They involve the county attorney. They get people involved who have no business being involved. This county lacks transparency and accountability. It's full of buddies who protect each other, and they're not looking out for you. They are looking out for a very small percentage of people. And I think right now, the reason they're keeping these things to themselves, this is just like the TCE. I have recordings that I will share with you of everybody saying different things. And they've been protecting each other for so long that when this stuff starts to get out, they don't know what to do with it. I don't know when the last time they told the truth was. So this engineering thing, like, it didn't have to go this way. Why can't you give us a call-in number where we can all engage in the conversation? They Another topic that came up about the county engineer was, well, what if there are complaints? What's going to happen? How's that going to be handled? Well, oh, he'll track them. Who? John Rasmussen, the person that somebody would be complaining about, will be the one who's going to track the. So Mary Jo Menser does us all a huge favor. She goes to almost every single one of these meetings because the county refuses to record it. They refuse to give us a phone number. So she goes. She puts her time in and records these, and I really appreciate her for doing that. When that post, it's called Harrison County Social Hour, I believe. You can go out there and watch the whole thing, and you will see the back and forth and the ridiculous behavior of our board of supervisors. So there'll be a lot more coming about the financial piece because I have a lot of open records requests out, having to do with the raises, the expenditures, just what they're doing with our tax money and why it just continues to go up and up and up. We should have the nicest roads. We should have the nicest everything, but we don't. So thanks for joining me. I hope that we see some real transparency, some real changes. And the only way we're really going to get that is if other people start engaging and if other people are just as frustrated as I am. People are going to start getting taxed out of their homes. That's the bottom line. That's going to happen. So, if we come together and we start airing our grievances and say, we can't keep doing this, we can't keep supporting this. You work for us. We don't work for you. And I think that has been forgotten. So let's start engaging and changing the narrative around here. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next time.